And there's my friendly rabbits. Look at this. We have dozens of rabbits all over here. Hi, it is Robbie from Southern California, August 1st. We are smack in the middle of summer and it is beautiful. And I'm getting done as much as I possibly can. As a lot of you know, I went through double cataract surgery, so I'm supposed to not be working in the garden, they said, for 30 days. I don't know how well that's going to work, but I am kind of working slowly. I'm got my soil out here because what I'm doing is I'm starting to plant here and I'm using soil from around, but I went ahead and got some potting soil just to put on the top. And I thought maybe might give them a jump start since some of these plants, actually they're all mine, but they were growing in a little bit of potting mix to start the seeds. These are all my own seeds, so I'm trying to keep them covered. Oh, let's step back and explain what's going on here. As you can see, I'm going through my piles, getting rid of what I don't want, and painting chairs so I can find other places for them. This is the tunnel. This is what Gary built, and I thought, oh no, now I won't be able to get to it, but I am getting to it. I've done 3 totes so far. This is doing fabulous. I have a watermelon back there. I don't know if the watermelon's going to make it, but look at this. This is my cucumber vine, and it has just taken off, and I keep kind of guiding it through a little bit because I want it to go up on the top. And hopefully we should start getting cucumbers soon from this. And well, it might be able to get through September into October. We'll see how it goes. In here, I've got a zucchini. It should not be in there, but I didn't have any other place offhand to go do it. So I figured I'll get this in there right now, get it planted, and just let it do its thing. And then I've got Korean melon in there, and that's what's growing here. These are all Korean melons, and I'm hoping they're going to do good. I've got Malabar spinach down there. Oh, there, I just got those all planted. Look at that, already going up. And then in here, the same thing. I've got some zucchini. I left them too long because I started the seeds before the cataract surgery, and then they got too big. And I thought, where am I going to put them? I'll stick them in there. If they make it, they make it. If they don't, they don't. And I'll get to these hopefully within the next 1 or 2 days. I'm hoping to get to that in the next 2 weeks. In about 2 weeks, I can start lifting again, they said, and doing pretty much everything. And I know a few of you have asked to make a video on my thoughts of it. And I am. I am. I've done the first few days. You saw how I was kind of documenting it. But I figured it'd be better to get through another week or two and then explain the good and the bad. There's no real bad, but there is things I would have done differently. And things that they didn't tell you that I would have done differently. But this is the rainbow garden, and we'll walk over to the chair garden in a minute. And this is doing good all on its own. I've got Malabar spinach down there. I'm still going to get the rest of my buckets lined up here, and I'm probably going to do geraniums. Now, let me explain something to you. As I look at my camera when I'm filming, I can't see it. Now, I'm not blind. I can see every leaf on the trees, all right? But what I can't see is to read. Some days are better than others. Some minutes are better than others. And right now, if all is good, my camera is clear because I don't see it clear. It's a real interesting process. I did some research on it after the surgery, and there's times your brain doesn't understand the lens and it's working. So right now when I look, I see nothing but it's a weird digital blur. It's something I've never seen before, but I can see. And if I do a separate video, I'll explain that to you. Remember, I did both eyes. Had I done one eye, it would have been different, but there's a reason why I did both, and I can do it separately. If you really want to hear it in details from step by step, I can easily put something together pretty soon on that. So let's get back to this. So I'm hoping everything is in focus because it's like, I can't see it because both eyes now are trying to readjust. Anyways, my strawberries, you know, these were strawberries that my daughter had bought, and I'm not sure what kind they are, but they don't do that well. And Gary noticed that too in his garden. I'm going to stay with the ones that I know, the better varieties next year, because I want strawberries. I've got some seascape that are growing really good, and I've been pulling strawberries off of that, and I made jello and put strawberries in it, and I'm going to get more varieties that I like better. Something was eating my peppers. I think it was those grasshoppers that are really big, but they're still throwing peppers, and it's too shaded under here. So this will take off really nice when the fig tree loses all its leaves. But Gary trimmed a little bit and he asked me if I wanted more, but there's so many figs on here, figs that I can actually reach and I can cover them with tools so the birds can't get them. So I said, well, let's just wait and I'll deal with that later. But I got milkweed, I have tomatoes growing there, I've got Malabar spinach, and this I did the other day. I sat down, took all the Malabar spinach out, and refurbished this tote. I normally would have had it higher up, but I didn't want to disturb the potato mint. That's a real rare plant. And they grow little tubers that taste like potatoes, but the only difference is you can eat them raw or cooked. So I want to get this established again. Gary thinks he lost all of his. I have to keep it covered because the rabbits like eating it. So now I've got it going, and I should get some cuttings off of it too. And then I've got more Malabar spinach growing on the ground. And then, well, that's pretty much it. I've got all my rosemary back there. And we're, like I said, we're getting rid of this. This is kind of my stuff, and I want to see what I need. I need everything. And what I don't need, we're going to do this differently. And the chairs, this has been really relaxing. I come out here, notice it's still shady because it's early in the morning. And I can sit here, as you know who sits there, Zoe, and watches me. And I'm painting the chairs. I've got now 3 chairs done. I've got a couple little touch-ups around. I do them kind of in 3 stages, and I've explained that in my videos. And I've got 4 chairs done. So I've got 1, 2, there's one back there, 3, 4. I've actually done an extra one. See, there's one right back there with the green tote on, that lime green tote, but that was made for the tunnel, so I'm leaving that. But I've got now 4 chairs, and I think I want 5. I'm thinking of doing a mini chair garden in the bird garden, but we'll see. I could end up using it somewhere else. I've got so much of that paint, I'm going to use it. And then that's it. So all these are doing good. I've got the Hummingbirds lunch. You see this every month. Is that not beautiful? From a tiny nothing plant. I had some parsley in here and it all disappeared. And look, a Malabar spinach is coming up instead. So I don't know. The walking onions are doing fabulous. Tomatoes coming up. Look at all the peppers. Oh, I got purple paint on my pepper. I have to remember. Oh, look, it comes right off. Oh, kind of. So that's doing really good. That's actually in a grow bag. It's been there for a couple years. I'm going to leave it. This one fizzled out, but there's some stuff growing in there. Probably milkweed, because milkweed's everywhere. So that's what's going on in the rainbow garden. I fixed that up since I had a sit. Let me move this. This needed a lot of work. Clean that up. This is just the cement I did with a leaf pattern on top. But the problem is I've got my solar panel down there, and I'm thinking of setting up the Lego fountain in here. You've probably seen that one. The birds love it, and it would kind of match. It would blend in. I just have to figure out where I want to sit it when I'm done. I think I'll be done with this in the next 2 weeks. Let's take a walk over and look at the chair garden, and then maybe we'll walk down the driveway. Haven't gotten to the inside, but I will soon. Our wood chip piles are almost gone. I told Gary, do you want me to order? Oh, look! Forget-me-nots right in the middle of the yard. They're beautiful, all from one plant that came up in the garden. All right, I forgot my glasses. I'm supposed to wear glasses outside. The lizard took off. The turmeric is doing wonderful. There's nothing nicer than needing a piece of turmeric, just moving everything over and reaching inside and taking a hunk off. That's what I've been doing when I need it. This is all turmeric. This has been a perfect place for that. The nectarines are doing great. I've already picked a few, and I'm going to start picking more because something's getting in there and eating it. See, there's another one eaten. So it's time to start picking them and let them ripen in the house. They're there. I don't think they're going to get much bigger. So I'm going to start picking those. Those are beautiful. This tree came up in the yard. It was a tiny seedling 3 years ago. Gary dug it up, and I set it here, and it is doing fantastic. Something broke my apple tree. I'm suspicious it was a skunk because somebody dumped the skunk up here that's been running around spraying everything. I don't see him right now, which is a good thing. But I think he was climbing around and he pulled on it and broke it. So that tree is the first time it's ever got broke. These are apple trees I grew from seed, and it was just for fun. They came up in my compost, and then I moved them out here a few years ago. I think they're doing good, so I might make them like into a fence, but we'll see how time goes on. Here's an avocado tree, another tree I don't need. Look at that. So I left it in the bucket for now, and I'll decide what I'm going to do with it. Maybe I'll graft it. And my chair garden, it's doing good on its own. See, I'm not supposed to be working in the garden at all. They said for 30 days. They don't want dirt and dust getting into your face, like has happened, but we won't talk about that. So I come out here and I work very little, and you're not supposed to lift for a month. They said, first they said 10 pounds and they said 20. So I do little by little. I still am working. I've got a zucchini plant growing here. We've had a lot of zucchini. And then I've got cucumbers all through here. They're starting to take off. See? Finally, we're going to start getting cucumbers off of this. So I'm really happy with that. There's cucumbers in there. More turmeric because I don't know what to do with it. I've got turmeric everywhere. Have not even gotten to those two, but that's okay. I've got the strawberries. I've been pulling strawberries. Oh, look! I didn't see that. See, I keep pulling strawberries. I believe these are seascapes. And they will throw strawberries all year. I better tuck them back underneath. Otherwise, something will get to them. I made Jell-O the other day. Something really simple and just chopped them up. It was great. Now, that's red bean sorrel. I put that in our green drink. So I didn't care if I got to this or not, but I do still plan on getting to it. Got a tomato plant and a squash plant. Whatever does better can survive in there. We'll see how that goes. Then I've got a tomato plant that came up in here. It's kind of all over the place. I didn't stake it. So it's kind of late. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. See how it fell over? It's growing roots there because it's sitting in the wet soil. Whether I'm going to keep it there or not, I don't know. And then I've got a squash here, walking onions, garlic chives, something growing down there, another squash, and more tomatoes. Tomatoes here have been doing really good. We'll walk around on the other side. And then here I've got a squash plant. Oh, finally, we're going to get some flowers off of this. This one I thought it was a goner. It's making a comeback. And then I've got greens coming up. I think that's a broccoli plant. See, I've been getting tomatoes. So they're starting. They're all through there. There's tomatoes here and tomatoes here, and it's all through here. So it's doing really, really well. And then let's see. I'm not spinning you too much because, like I said, I can't see the screen of my camera. It doesn't look right. Anyways, let's see what's going on here. So I've got the 3 watermelon plants. They're doing okay. We still had nights that were cool, and watermelon needs a lot of heat, but I did end up with this. Look at this. Whether this is going to grow or not, I don't know. We've been looking at it, and it looks kind of stunted. What I don't like is the trunk size. See how wimpy they are? They should have a thicker, heavier stalk to them, and this is a crimson. So if it makes it, it makes it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I thought it was going to get enough sun here and heat. We've had a very odd year this year, so we'll see how that goes. And then I haven't seen any in there, but that doesn't mean there isn't any more. And then I've got geraniums back there, and that's it. Still picking from this. This fascinates me because Gary built this to compost in place, and he threw all the weeds. That's all that's in there, just branches and stuff. It piled up all winter. He kept throwing it in, and then what happened? All the Swiss chard started to grow. It was falling from here. And I just ended up with a beautiful field of Swiss chard with no soil added to that at all. No potting soil, no ground soil, only what came off of the roots of the plants that he threw in there. So that's been really good. All right, so that is the back of the chair garden. As far as anything down here, nothing has been done. I haven't even painted my red chair. That was a big plan of mine, and I still do plan on doing that. The meadow's doing fine on its own. So it brings in all kinds of birds and rabbits. And I've got pomegranates growing there too. So we've got a lot going on. My moringa's doing really good. I come out here and pick moringa leaves, and I go ahead and add that to my green drink. So let's just walk down. There's a rabbit down there. We are loaded with rabbits. We are also loaded with hawks that have been hanging around. The parent hawk has been bringing babies. Oh, I've got to get the peppers off. I let them on too long. They dried up. I can grow those, and the good ones I'll take in. I'm actually making potato salad. Gary's harvested some potatoes. I've harvested some. I've even bought a bag. And I make great potato salad. Look, a moringa came up. I didn't see that. Oh, that's a keeper. I'll cater to that and let it grow in there and use those greens. There's my friendly rabbit. So here is where things are going to change. I think there's a lot of stuff that I did not get to this year. And because of what I was planning on, I knew that I was going in for cataract surgery. All right. And technically it's not even supposed to be done. I'm still scheduled for cataract surgery in 2 weeks, but I did them both the same day. It was supposed to be a month apart. Look at Gary puts his chayote squash in here. If you bring them in the house, they mold right away, just from the atmosphere in the house, the conditions in the house. If you leave them outside, they do really good. So I got that cage set up, and I said, just leave them outside. Red vein sorrel on the bottom, red vein sorrel on the top, green sorrel. From here on, this is going. And you saw the video probably on how there's going to be changes. So what brought the changes on? It really wasn't me, though I was thinking about it. It was Gary. As Gary was helping me, oh, there's my black cobras. He saw this was ridiculous, he said. Look. That plant's now at least 4 years old, if not older. And that was picked up at the 99-cent store. He was helping me, and he said, do you know how much work you have? And it's not the work, it's the watering. He doesn't like to water because, look, you have to drag the hose all the way up and down the driveway. I've got one hose on that end and one hose on the other end. And yes, and then you got to put the hose back because you can't drive over it, see? So then you got to put it back. So it creates too much work, he said. I will tell you, less is better. I'm going to cut in here for a second because I misspoke. What I was going to say is you can be more productive in a smaller space than the amount of space I'm using, because it's taking too much energy and too much time to grow this much in such a large space when I can grow probably twice as much in a smaller space. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Let's get back to the garden tour. My favorite garden is the chair garden, the rainbow garden, and of course the bird garden, but it brings in birds. That's why I like the bird garden. This I want to collect. These are carrot seeds. Oh, I'm not sure what that is. Oh, it's a little praying mantis? A brown one? It must be a baby. See right here? Don't make me scream. Look at that. That's a little one. I know the big ones are not good for hummingbirds, but that's a little tiny thing. I haven't even seen a little brown one like that. Probably a very young one. And there's different species too, I know. So I've got a lot of melon spinach that got in there. I don't even know how. Birds probably eating the seeds and pooping around. And then I've got the celery. So it became too much, and I am going to change it. By opening this up, we're going to stop here and get rid of, not get rid of, but move all the way down. So it's a short walk to water. And then I'm changing my potatoes. I don't need the potatoes and all this here. The upside down planters will all be lined up here. I really like these. Since I've got them, I might as well use them because I can control them to grow lettuce. And this is oregano, and this is purslane. I've got mint in here. This is mint that went to seed and grew in here. I don't want it. We have to do a separate one on mint because that mint is no good to use, even though it came from probably chocolate mint. It's not that good. You want to do it by cuttings, and you want to do it right. So I'm going to clean all that out and get rid of it. If you've got mint, you throw it away. You don't compost mint. So we'll do all that. I got more turmeric there because I don't know what to do with it. I've got turmeric everywhere. So this will stay, this area. I set those up on 2 chairs with some rails I found in the trash. And I've got cabbage growing there and some Swiss chard. I'll leave my tree right now. That's another one that came up. And there's no holes on the bottom. You can see the holes just around an inch up. This tree is growing from all the leaf matter I clean up. And I just grab these leaves and I just throw them in there. And so it's being fed off everything I throw in there. And that's a beautiful avocado tree. So I think from around here all the way to the end there, and I'll bring that upside down planter in here. No totes here. Then the rest of this will all be open, so Gary can order wood chips and they'll bring that through and you can drive. And we won't have this to care for. So just a short thing. And you could probably water this with a watering can 1, 2, 3, especially in the winter. So we'll see. But that's why some of it came about, or we're changing it, because Gary said it was just too much work. My pomegranate tree that's in the bucket, it's actually a strawberry bucket I made. This can go somewhere else. This can go completely. This will probably go too. And the chair, if the chair's in good shape, I might keep that. And then this will be easier to take care of. Look at it. They're still not done. I think by the time the guy finishes the house, his children will be grown up and they'll have children. Maybe those children will have children. I don't know. Let's go to the front yard. We're now in the front yard. Another place I haven't done too much. I left all the brassicas with the seeds, and I left that purposely for nature, for the birds, and they've been feeding on them. They're almost all gone. This one was gone. All the seed heads were eaten, so I cut it down. I'm going to start getting greens. Whether I'm going to leave this here or not, I don't know. I still have plans. I'm just slow this year because I have 2 more weeks before I can do a whole lot. Though I am doing a lot, but I'm not doing as much as I should. Does that sound right? This will come off. I almost did it yesterday. All these seed heads are gone. There'll be a few seeds that the birds miss because nature doesn't allow them to get everything. And see, there's 2 seeds right in there. I don't know if you can see it, but there are 2 seeds, and they'll fall to the ground and they'll grow if it gets wet. So this can all be trimmed and composted. Probably will go into the tunnel totes where I'm setting up. Just chop it all out, throw it in the totes. And then the rest of these totes, once it's all done, maybe I'll do more chocolate mint, more walking onions. I've been using a lot of walking onions lately, whether I'm making, Gary makes hamburgers, I chop them up, put them in salads. You know, we use them for a lot of different things, and I love my walking onions. So I'm not sure yet. We'll see what happens. This I just have to change out. This is just celery growing. I've got some more geraniums back there. I'm actually thinking of making another monarch garden out here with milkweed. Look at the geranium back there. I don't know if you can see it. All the way back there against the pine trees. This has changed because I used to grow squash that looked like torpedoes out here, but I had more sun. Because of these trees, I mean, this is not a joke. They're huge forest trees now. You know, I can remember when they planted them and they were real tiny. They were just nothing, and they were like 5 feet tall, and boy, they've grown. Look at the trunks on them. Look at the trunk. They were nothing trees, and now they're massive trees. And that has changed the gardening in here because of the shade, which, you know what would grow good in here probably is more turmeric and ginger. I do need more ginger. I'll show you that in a second. So we'll see when I clear it up. I'll step back and I'll kind of decide and analyze what I want to do. Move some of these chairs. I don't need these chairs. These are beautiful to sit on. They're so comfortable. That one, oh gosh, you can barely even put a tote on it. I can't even get out of those chairs the way the back tips on them. So we'll move that. But I'm going to work with more walking onions and mint and then decide what else I want to do in the front yard. I've got a lot of geraniums. Trying to lift everything up because in our area we got rattlesnakes. And Gary found another one the other day sitting right in the driveway. So anyways, that's not a good thing. And then the table, I'm going to let it go. I got to chop it all down. That's a lot of celery and there's sow thistle and different things. My radishes, I planted them too late. And so I've got more greens than radish base because it's just so hot. Now we haven't hit triple digits here yet, which is good. I timed my surgery on my eyes perfectly, and that's why I pushed it instead of waiting, because in a couple weeks we could start getting into our triple digits, not just in the 90s, but in the hundreds. So I didn't really get to the table the way I wanted to. We'll see if I do it in the spring or do it sooner. I'm not sure, but I've got brassicas growing in here. Isn't that beautiful? So I got beautiful greens. I still have beets in here that I pull out. I know that there's a beet right there. So I've been using beets, and I put that in my green drink. So it works out really good. Let me try to get out of here now. Oh my gosh. I have been buying hoses, and I found the hose I'm in love with. If you got hose issues, tell me, and I'll make a quick video on that because I found the best hose in the world for me. And I'm telling you, as soon as I experimented with it for the past month and a half, I'm changing a lot of my hoses. It has good points and bad points, and I can go over that another time. Some of them are fabulous and some of them aren't that good, but it's just worked out really good. This will probably get a trimming soon too. This is just geraniums that I planted in these cement blocks, and they're doing good here. And then I've got more here. They're so pretty because they constantly flower. And though they don't have a lot of nectar or pollen, they do bring insects to hide in there, and the rabbits love hiding in there, and the hummingbirds will look around to collect insects. Now, this is the ginger, except for that one on the end. And I didn't get as much ginger as I got turmeric. Turmeric loves it here. This is all turmeric. This is all ginger, except for that one. So I want to concentrate maybe next spring or summer into getting more ginger. So I'll separate this later. Let me see something. See, there's some hasn't come up yet, but it's good. It's been slow, and maybe it hasn't been warm enough for it, but it's coming in pretty good. And the turmeric, look at this. This one, the flower's fizzling out now. Well, there might be seeds in there. Hold on. I don't know what's in there. I haven't looked. I shouldn't pull on it. I'm going to have to take that apart and see if there's any seeds in there. This is black turmeric coming up. See the stripe in the leaf? Or blue, they call it. A lot of people call it blue or black. That was the first time we got a flower off of that. This one too. So I think there's 3. 1, 2, 3 I planted. Gary's got one I gave him. And the rest is the regular turmeric. It's orange. I had so much turmeric, I can't even use as much, let's see, seed heads, as much as I grew. Look, this is what the birds love. Now, this is millet. Look at that. I've got it growing all over in the bird garden, and the birds are going wild over it. So anyways, going back to this, I've been spreading it everywhere. You'll see as we walk through, I probably won't point out 90% of it, but there was just so much. There was only so much you could eat, so much you could freeze, and so much you can plant. So Gary took a lot. I had a big bucket sitting here, and I said, do you need turmeric? And he said I could use it. Good. Take it and go for it. So he did. Then I've got this tomato plant that came up on the ground, and it's been sprawling all over. Look at this. So we've been getting tomatoes. There's tomatoes there and tomatoes back there on a plant that just came up on its own. I see there's some hornworm damage, but I can't find the hornworm. So he could be here. Maybe you're screaming, saying, there he is. I couldn't find him. But we've got a lot of orioles, and they'll take a great big hornworm, and they will take off with it. So maybe they got it because we looked all over. We couldn't find it. But the tomatoes are doing really good. So I am really pleased. Oh, new. Okay, so this was new because in the past 2 weeks, this thing has really exploded and taken off. Just beautiful. Love my turmeric. I add turmeric to anything. If I make a salad, you can grate it up and put it in your salad. If you're doing a stir fry, we don't do a lot of stir fries in the summer. You can add it to that. I take a big clump and I put it in my green drink. And the other thing is I just eat it because it tastes like carrot to me. Ours tastes really good. Some people say they're bitter, but ours is really good. This is all new. So Gary finished the fence now. Now there's no roll bars, so I can't let Zoe just come out here and hang out, but she can walk with me back and forth from one garden to the other. So he finished this gate. I got a nozzle there. I don't even need it, but we'll see if I use it for something. More turmeric I put down here. He's going to put dirt lockers down there. He's going to redo the hillside because he built this stairway. You can sit here and enjoy the beautiful scenery. And there's Gary's garden down there. Look at that. I haven't been down there for a while. I haven't hiked down there at all. There's all the birds flying around. And then he just finished this yesterday, this gate, because we used to have that slide gate back and forth, but he did wire it up so no rabbits would get in. Yeah, they still find their way in. I don't know. They've got other holes, and that's okay, but at least Zoe can't get out anywhere, in or out. Okay, there's a chair there with a tote. There's nothing in that tote. I never got to it because it got covered with a tomato plant. And now we've got this gated so he can walk back and forth from the garage that's over there and here, and she can walk with us. Before we couldn't because she'd take off. That dog, Zoe, if she saw a rabbit or a squirrel, she's gone. So now I know where she is. She can come with me. She can walk. And he had to cut the metal here and pack it full of cement because I think there was one of those brackets built inside the blocks. He didn't do this. It was there with the house when we got it. And it had a wooden stake. So he took the wood out and he packed it. And then we've got this step here. But now we've got a real gate into the bird garden. Do I need to close it right now? No, but I'll close it anyways. I'm trying to stay in the habit of keeping gates closed. Now this looks pretty much the same. except we've got a lot of dragon fruit flowers now. So he's been coming out at night and pollinating that. There's more up on top there. I'm slowly getting to this. Now, this looks like it's shark fin melon because one came up and I'm not even sure if I planted that one because I planted that one. The tomatoes, they're all looking off this year. And again, even now, we're in the middle of summer and it was what, 60 degrees this morning? It's been cool at night, cool and damp. Look at the sky. In the morning, we get up and it's foggy, and tomatoes want it more dry. Watermelon wants it more dry. So I don't know what we're going to grow this year. Is the weather changing? Well, the weather changes year by year. And so we'll have to see. I may have to think more when I'm planting on how I want to do it. Yellow leaves are like gold to me. Look at that. Every yellow leaf means something to me. And put it in here for now and come back and get it later. That makes plant food, that makes soil and everything. I'm getting close to moving this, but look at this. I'm growing my own bird seed now. Oh, there's a compost bucket I forgot about. Look at that. This is wonderful because I can sit here probably very soon and see all the birds hang off of it and eat it. They like it when it gets to a certain stage. I will be moving this because this is where I want to expand the bird garden because that's the bird garden. I mean, this whole thing really is turned into a bird garden, but I want to expand it out and I want to make different bird feeders in here. I want to leave the back like a jungle because the birds can come in and dart in and out. Am I going to put cross beams all through here? Probably not because I have other ideas, but we'll see as I go. And then here, I want to get rid of this. I look at this and go, no, it's a cute setup, but I could do better. I can put out 20 bucks and change it a lot. These totes are amazing. They're what, 8, 9 years old? They're still going strong. Right now I'm using that to store stuff in, but I've got more turmeric there, turmeric there, turmeric there, turmeric there. Like I said, turmeric everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's a bucket with turmeric growing. I've got garlic chives. Now this mint is nice. This is orange mint. Notice it left the tote and the bucket over there, and it's growing on the ground. We definitely have to do something on mint because I've heard so much false information on mint. And for some people, it won't matter. Like for me, it doesn't matter. But for other people, it could just take over the garden to the point where you wouldn't want it. Oh, this has to be uncovered. The leaf is going to try to go through here. Uh-oh. Should do that with 2 hands. Okay, I tore the leaf. The next ones will come up better. I might move it somewhere else. I'm looking for better places to grow turmeric. So we'll see how that goes. So anyways, I want to get rid of this. I've been using this for cuttings. See, this is different emu bushes, walking onions. This is just cuttings I throw in here from the Hummingbird's lunch. I put it in pots. I'm propagating all through here. Look, a tomato came up. This is another one I propagated. I think this is Mexican sage, but I'm not sure. Gary knows what it is. I propagated that. Turmeric. Turmeric. So you're going to find turmeric everywhere. This I want to change because this was made for my insects. I wanted to compost in there and have the insects fly into the air and the birds pick it up. And I kind of covered it and put a bird feeder on top. So I want to make more of those. I think there's a shorter supply of tiny insects for a lot of birds. And that's why hummingbirds and birds are moving around differently. A lot of your smaller warblers, small songbirds, they all eat tiny insects, not the big ones. And without that, they can't survive and they can't raise a lot of babies. So I want to get more of those made. I had planned on putting one in the chair garden. I didn't get to it. So we're going to do that. But this should be cleared out. I don't know if it'll be done in 2 weeks. You'll have to come back and see if it's done because there's only so much I can do right now. But I am working little by little. I made myself an area where I can sit down and work. And I've got to get those plants still planted. I've got so much growing. It's ridiculous. Yes, another turmeric. So I'm getting to it. This light stuff, I can do that. Oh, this is red roselle. Still trying to figure out where else to plant it. And then this is some of my geraniums. Some of them are cuttings in here. Some of them are the ones I bought. Oh, you know what this is? Chia seed. And I've got to get those planted. Oh my goodness. Some broccoli I never even planted. So all in all, oh, the pump stopped. I'll have to go check that. It's just been growing really good. We're trying to keep the canopy up so we can see if there's anything underneath at our feet. So we've been trying to trim. I have a hard time trimming plants. Here's another one. This is the chia. This one might be the red roselle. But this has just been amazing. This is the hummingbird's favorite out here, though they do love salvias and they love sage. And if the sage has flowers, they love that. Pensimons they love. This is the type of flower they just go crazy about. But the hummingbird lunch, they feed here all day. And this has been a favorite area for a lot of the birds that come in. I put a new feeder up yesterday there with the blue bowl. So there's just been so many little changes that I'm doing. More flowers on the bottom. And this also is a red roselle. I've been kind of tucking them around. This looks like it's a cutting. Oh yeah, this is a cutting of a hibiscus. And that looks like it took. This is just a pencil cactus I probably should move. More cuttings that I stick around just from the yard, from the big plant. If I see it break, I stick it around and it grows. That's a fig tree. I got to get rid of it. I don't want it. Here's the plants that I planted. That one got chewed up. See, if the leaf gets chewed up when it's young, then it will grow that way. I'm moving some of these because something's chewing them up. It might be squirrels. I'm moving them to a different area where there's not as many squirrels. There's all my walking onions. So I still have a lot of work to do. All right, that's a black turmeric or blue turmeric. See the leaf? Another one I brought over here. I'm going to set up another turmeric table. They've got to be lifted off the ground because things on the ground are kind of nibbling on them. There's a plant we bought. Look at that. This is the honeysuckle. Look at that. It's starting to take off. Oh, hummingbirds are going to love that. I want to do a lot of cuttings off of that. So I keep stringing it along. I think it would look really cool. Or I'll probably have to do it with a little twine. You can't really do this one-handed, and I don't want to break it. I'll try one more time. If I can't do it, if I break it, it doesn't matter. But there we go. See? And now it's just going to grow perfect. Let's see, I'll go this way and this way. Look how beautiful the flower is. That was a good deal. That was a reduced plant. Oh, I've got to get all those yellow leaves out of this monster of a plant. Look at this. Been using a lot of this for my green drink too. Oh, beautiful plant. There's a lemon verbena I moved. It came out of those totes in the front, those green ones that are like 9 years old. And I moved it here. It's doing really good. Here's another lemon verbena. It's a tree. Look at that. The birds, they'll eat the tiny seeds that are in there. I think, oh no, there's still seeds. I don't know where to put it. So they'll eat the tiny seeds in here. Plus they like using it for cover. The bush tits come in. Let me back out. And they'll sit in there along with all kinds of little birds. And they just love to duck in there and hide. And then I've got different plants and flowers growing and tomatoes. See the tomatoes this year? It's really there's no spider mite. I've looked. It's like they're not growing that good. And I don't know if there is anything. I know that up north in Northern California, there's an insect that's causing a disease and they're spraying again. So be aware that all the tomatoes you're getting, they're starting to spray because they have to get rid of it. Is it that? I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm just going to let it do its thing because we don't spray at all. Look at the tomatoes. Here is my Voyager or Traveler tomato. So I've got quite a few on here. And if I don't cover them with tulle, I could lose them. Look at that. So even though the plant looks bad, that's the way the tomatoes are supposed to look. It's still throwing a lot of tomatoes, but I really do contribute it to our cool nights, warm during the day, but damp and cool in the morning. So I don't know if that will change because August is normally a very dry, hot month in Southern California for everybody. We're not that close to the coast, but close enough where we don't get the heat like San Fernando Valley does in other areas. But it will change for August and into September. See, the tomatoes here are doing really good. Look at that. So I've got tomatoes in there, but again, you can see a little bit of that. And I'm not sure yet what that is. But whatever it is, and there's nothing I can do about it right now because I'm not starting new tomatoes. Okay, now here is where I'm thinking of doing a chair guard. See where I told you Gary wanted to build the tunnel here? I'm almost done taking the seed heads out. So I'm going to use that in the tunnel that Gary built, with the rebar and all that. I want to grow in there, and I'm going to, that's out the gate where we just came from before. That's where I'm going to use all the cuttings off of the seed heads. Makes fabulous soil. Put it in there and I make my own soil. It's compost in place, no turning, no nothing, and just growing. But that's what I was saying. I would lose this beautiful view. Now, I have not seen any deer lately, but my neighbor said she did see one the other day roam through. So they are around. But this is such a beautiful area. And you see rabbits a lot of times running and playing. Oh, there's my little carpenter bee. He's going after the 4 o'clocks. He's beautiful. So that's what I didn't want to lose. That's why I didn't want to build a high tunnel to grow in vertical gardening here. So I'm thinking, clear out these totes. I mean, that one's empty anyways already. That one's empty. I'm using it to store things. That got moved actually. Get this all out, and I'm maybe a chair garden with 5 chairs. I'll have to see. I'll have to look at it, set them up. That's where the purple chairs will go because the kind of purple will kind of blend in. If you did white, it sticks out like a sore thumb. So I think that will be really good. And then this, I love this because this really protects the birds. This is going to go on the opposite side of the yard where we walked in the bird garden in the beginning because there's not a cover there. No hawks will be able to get through and the birds can go in and out to feed. Maybe I'll paint that up real pretty, green or purple or something, and get it to the other side of the yard. And the birds would have a safe place to be. So we'll see how that goes. And then this is just where I propagate or work with the plants underneath this old gazebo we had. We didn't want to throw it out. And then all the geraniums. Got geraniums growing under here, gives a good ground cover for my papayas that have made a wonderful comeback. Remember in the winter, they looked like they were gone. They're full of flowers. There's fruit up there. So we'll see how all that goes, but they did pretty good. One of them didn't come back, so I might take that out. We'll see. But all in all, I think it's doing real good. So I'm going to empty out this container. This is some container Gary found in the trash, like a water container. He cut it in half. So I'm going to empty that out. Go ahead and put more leaves and stuff from all over in there. Cover it back, and as it leaches into the ground, because there's holes on the bottom, it will continue to feed the papaya. So, and I can plant in there. Maybe I'll just leave geraniums. If I plant geraniums, it kind of deters a lot of critters. They don't like the smell of geraniums, like squirrels and stuff. And sometimes they won't even come up to it because they don't smell food. And this way it will grow around the papaya and nothing will try to climb up there and get it. At least in theory, that's what I'm hoping for. And that's it. We've made our circle. I don't know what's going on in Gary's room. I haven't been in there lately, not in the past few days at least. But I do see, I don't know if you can see it, I see a whole bunch of dragon fruit growing everywhere. Then I've got, yes, more turmeric. This is just canary seed growing. And a lot of birds do not pick on canary seed. I don't know why. So I'll be composting all that. In here, this is all chocolate mint. Chocolate mint was planted in there. Chocolate mint was planted in there. Chocolate mint was not planted in there. Notice it all over the ground? Now, our ground is really dry, so it's not going to take over. Keep that in mind. Be very careful. It was not planted in there. All right, and then I've got the beautiful, I think this is like a Russian red kale or purple kale. This is trying to make a comeback, and I see grasshoppers get up on top there and they eat it. I've seen them. They're huge. There's been quite a few this year. But I need to get some more cuttings off of this to save the plant. This is actually just hanging. As long as it's hanging by a thread, it can feed the plant. But this is nice and straight. This would make a nice plant. This one would make a nice plant. And then just plant the stem and hope for the best. So I'll do that fairly soon. And an old moringa that's been here for years, been using these leaves too. This has been really good. And that's it. So we can walk out just so you can see we have made a complete circle. Love my hose. And that's it. Now I'm going to go in. Look at this. Strawberries. But we don't get a lot of strawberries on this type. I think these were pineapple strawberries. I'm not pleased with them. Anyways, we've made a complete circle. And that is what's going on in the chair garden. So I'm going to go back in, as I was saying, get another cup of coffee. My voice is a little dry. And then I'm going to have breakfast. Oh, I see a hummingbird. And can you see it? We're going to try to see if we can see it. I thought, gee, I got to move that plant because hummingbirds don't use it here. Surprise, surprise. You do. Do you see that? Right here by the table. Is that not cool? That's why I'm keeping it there. So there's going to be a lot of plants around. This is what I'm changing up in the garden. That's going to be for both birds and butterflies because I absolutely adore this. And the idea, he's just a few feet from me. Off he goes. Oh, he's going to go to the bush that's hanging over. The apple ice? That's apple ice. Okay. I'm going to have a lot of totes and pots around here for hummingbirds, butterflies, and other birds. So for now, I was going to yank all the milkweed out that's self-seeded. Let me tell you something. A small plant can be $15 at the nursery to get some milkweed. Really expensive. So why would I want to yank it out? I mean, I've been putting them in pots and moving them around. I gave some to my neighbor. I'm going to leave this one. But I still might get that pot out. That's a two system. Get it out and plant something else in there among it. So that would work. So it can grow with the milkweed. This is pepino. I'm going to do a lot of trimming. This is an old plant. They do better when they're younger. So you just trim them off like I did there. That's a young plant, 2 years old. And then you get a lot of new fruit. You would say, wait a minute, it's not 2 years old. It's still an old plant. Well, it is an old plant. But the point is, when you start them from cuttings, it's a new plant. And look, milkweed, self-seeded. It's not hurting the plant at all. So I'm going to do that because I've got neighbors that come to me and say, did you know there's no monarchs in our area? As I'm standing here covered in monarchs. There's no monarchs right now. But usually I'm covered in monarchs. I'm working out here, I'm painting. They're flying all over. They're absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to have both for nature because I don't need all this food. Speaking of monarchs, see? That's what I'm saying. They're all over here. Can you see it? They're all over, and they're coming in the bird garden now because I've been moving pots. I've been moving some of the plants in there, so they're flying through there. And I'm thinking of doing that in the front yard. One tote or two totes devoted for milkweed. And then what you do with this type of milkweed is in the winter when there's no butterflies, you cut it down to the ground and it starts new from the root base. You just cut it way down and it works fantastic. So I'm going to do a lot of mixing and matching, like hummingbird lunch. This is perfect. You saw. And then I'm thinking maybe even right here, I might put my fountain I made, the one that's with the Legos, because it's colorful. It will go with this. Unless I find another spot for it. Maybe I'll do it under the fig tree. I'm not sure yet. But that's what I'm thinking because of the color. Like I said, these chairs are going. That one's going to be painted probably today. And my pizza garden. Yes, more turmeric. It got chewed up somewhere. I had to move it. But it looks a little pale. I think it needs more sun. So I'll have to see. But I also just moved it. So I may not have been happy where it was. But I've got sage. I've got basil. I've got oregano. I've got rosemary. I've got beautiful thyme in here. And none of my parsley made it. This is parsley right there. Whether it's going to make a comeback, I don't know. It didn't do well this year. And I have no idea why. But I also bought the tray. So maybe the type of parsley I bought didn't do well. And tell me, have you bought starts from the nursery and how did they do from you? Because I noticed a lot of the ones I bought, including the parsley, they didn't grow. After I planted them, I did better with my own seeds than I did with plants I bought. And I don't know if it's the chemicals they use. A lot of them do use chemicals to get them started. And maybe once they got moved here, it wasn't good for them or they didn't adapt like they usually do. There is no monarchs here in our area. That's what they tell me. No monarchs. Really? Do you see any monarchs around here? I mean, he stands here and tells me there's no monarchs as they're flying around. We won't get into that. Anyways, yes, more turmeric there, And then this is just that cutting I got of a geranium a while back. And this is not getting enough sun. Though I am picking peppers off of this plant. Oh, this is a pepino. See? It's a cutting I did here for the winter and I put it in this cup. So I should just move that and get that into a better situation where it's got more sun. But this is very shaded right now. Maybe I will trim out the figs. See, this one didn't even make it. No. So we'll see. Maybe I'll take the fig tree out and put something else in here later. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. Keep in mind, But the past 2 weeks, when I did the last garden tour, I went immediately in for double cataract surgery, doing both eyes at the same time. So it's been 2 weeks of the garden maintaining itself. I come out and I water, I move soil, I move pots, I trim plants. Don't tell my doctor. I'm very careful, though I did have a couple slight mishaps. And then Gary has been running around. The first few days he was running around doing all this. And that's when he said, you've got too much work. This is ridiculous. And you don't need it. And that is true. So we're going to concentrate on areas. And I'm also going to plant a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be planted all the time. We can all do that. You plant walking onions, it's a one-time plant. You don't need to, it's a plant forever. We have a lot of forever plants that we can plant so we can get things we have to work with and things we don't have to even think about will grow on its own. And that's what I think a lot of us have to do. And if we do more of that, I think more of us will garden. It'll make life easier and more enjoyable. So with that, have a wonderful day. I'm going to go in and have breakfast and go see what Zoe's up to. And I'm just going to remember that there are no monarchs in my area. Have a great day and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. Now, there's no monarchs. We don't have monarchs here. Aren't they gorgeous?